interesting because as you were talking about social media there, I think Mark Zuckerberg on Joe Rogan was saying that they are taking away their fact checkers, and I believe X is doing something similar. What was your take on that?
This whole thing of how you balance free speech versus not, discouraging people from using vaccines when that would be beneficial for them, or even extreme stuff like Holocaust denial or some bad things there. I'm a little bit disappointed that my generation hasn't got a clear prescription to how we achieve both the goals, free speech and yet reasonable discourse that's not misleading people. I mean, during the pandemic, the negativity about vaccines, some of which, had me being some, weird misbehaving actor, which was a lot of craziness. Clearly over 1 million people died who should have benefited from the vaccine. And next time, whether it's an out of control AI or the next pandemic, the impact of not getting facts out could be much more dramatic. I mean, you could have a pathogen that was 10 times or 20 times as fatal as COVID was, particularly once Omicron comes along. The fatality rate is actually reasonably modest and mostly elder people. So politics meets AI is where a lot of our fates will be determined, even in the next 10 years.
And how do you see your role in that?
Well, hopefully there's some things I really do understand about that. And whether it's giving advice to Microsoft or in my foundation work on education and health, using it, the place where you have the greatest shortage of teachers and doctors is in poor countries in Africa. And so the fact that these things, can give farmers advice and give a pregnant women advice and look at what your kid is eating and say, no, you need more protein in this diet. And it's essentially free. The way that computing was free that I saw when I was young, now we're getting into this even more radical thing of intelligence will basically be free. That's kind of wild stuff. So I hope both with some specific ideas, but then with the lessons of the past of, where we've been able to shape things so far, so that I think personal computing has largely been an empowering thing. I was reading this book Nexus where Harari says that when the printing press comes along, it actually is books about witches and how you find witches that are the best selling. So just thinking, because we have new capabilities that will necessarily use them at first in a net beneficial way, that's sadly a naive concept.